Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Manoj Singh Rana and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation with Chief Ministers of Punjab, Karnataka, Bihar and Uttarakhand. India's total COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 17 crore mark. Over 386,000 people recover from coronavirus infection in last 24 hours. Government to distribute AYUSH 64 to COVID patients at 7 more centres in Delhi from tomorrow. Nearly 4,200 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by railway so far across the country. Lockdown extended in Uttar Pradesh and Delhi till 17th May in view of COVID-19 situation. New COVID containment measures to come into effect in Karnataka from tomorrow for 14 days. 7-day total lockdown to be imposed in Mizoram from tomorrow. Senior BJP leader Himanta Biswa Sarma to take oath as Chief Minister of Assam tomorrow. And India strongly condemns the terrorist attack on girls' school in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners to take all precautions and all those above 18 years of age to get vaccinated without any hesitation. The vaccination for persons between the age of 18 and 44 years has begun at designated facilities. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today spoke to Chief Ministers of Punjab, Karnataka, Bihar and Uttarakhand on the COVID-related situation in their states. In the last few days, Mr. Modi has also spoken to the Chief Ministers of other states over the issue and took stock of the situation of health-related facilities and vaccination. They include Chief Ministers of Tamil Nadu, Jharkhand, Odisha, Telangana, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Sikkim. Over 386,000 people have recovered from coronavirus infection in last 24 hours. So far, over 1 crore 83 lakh people have recovered from the COVID-19 infection in the country. The cumulative share of active COVID cases in the country has declined to comprise nearly 16.76% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has said that currently over 37,36,000 people are reported to be suffering from the viral pandemic and are either hospitalized or under home isolation. In the last 24 hours, 4,03,738 new COVID-19 cases were registered in the country. With this, the recovery rate has further improved to stand at 82.15%.
India has administered more than 17 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. India launched the world's largest vaccination drive on 16th of January this year. The Union Health Ministry said that more than 20,23,000 beneficiaries were inoculated with COVID-19 vaccine doses till this morning. Out of them, nearly 8 lakh beneficiaries were vaccinated for first dose and around 12 lakh beneficiaries received second dose of the vaccine. The ministry said nearly 2,90,000 beneficiaries in the age group 18 to 44 years received their first dose of COVID vaccine today, and cumulatively around 18 lakh people in this age group have received their first jabs so far. Uttar Pradesh government has decided to further extend the duration of the corona curfew in the state for 1 week amid a surge in coronavirus cases. The previous curfew was to end tomorrow morning, but now it will continue till 17th of this month.
Lockdown has been extended in Delhi till the 17th of this month in view of COVID-19 situation in the national capital. The Delhi metro services will also be suspended during this period. Briefing the media, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said the lockdown period is being used to boost medical infrastructure and increase oxygen beds at various locations in the national capital. The Chief Minister said the COVID positivity rate has come down from 35% to 23% in the last few days.
कोरोना के केस कम तो हुए हैं, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत हैं। 23% अभी भी संक्रमण दर है। तो सबका ये मानना है कि अभी लॉकडाउन को और एक्सटेंड करने की जरूरत है, बरकरार रखने की जरूरत है। तो इसीलिए सरकार ने आप सब लोगों के फीडबैक के आधार पर मजबूरीवश अभी 1 हफ्ते का लॉकडाउन और बढ़ाया जा रहा है। कल सुबह 5 बजे ये लॉकडाउन खत्म होना था, लेकिन अब ये अगले सोमवार के सुबह 5 बजे तक के लिए बढ़ाया जा रहा है और इस बार थोड़ा सा और सख्त किया जा रहा है। कल से दिल्ली के अंदर मेट्रो भी चलना बंद हो जाएंगी। हमारी कोशिश है कि जितना ज्यादा लॉकडाउन को सख्त किया जाएगा, उतना तेजी से हम सब लोग कोरोना पे काबू पा पाएंगे।
Meanwhile, the Delhi Disaster Management Authority, DDMA, has said that there will be a complete prohibition on marriage ceremonies at public places, banquet halls, hotels and similar places during the lockdown period till the 17th of this month. In an order today, the DDMA said such functions allowed at home or in court will not have more than 20 people. E-pass possessed by a person for movement connected to essential goods and services during night or weekend curfew shall remain valid during the period.
A total of 13,336 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 13,23,000. The Delhi government has said that over 12 lakh people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 14,738 people recovered and 273 deaths were reported in the city. The death toll so far in the national capital stood at 19,344. The Delhi government has opened COVID care centers and COVID health centers at various locations and linked them to hospitals under it. The linked hospitals will ensure proper monitoring of the COVID care centers and COVID health centers attached to it. These hospitals will also ensure proper, timely and adequate supply of logistics.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has written to Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan urging to direct the Serum Institute of India and the Bharat Biotech to increase monthly supplies to Delhi to 60 lakh doses during May to July. He said states should be allowed to develop separate apps or mechanism for vaccination. Mr. Kejriwal said there is a requirement of 83 lakh doses per month to vaccinate everyone above 18 years of age in Delhi in the next 3 months. In Karnataka, new COVID containment measures will come into effect from tomorrow for 14 days. During the period, restrictions will be in place on the movement of people and vehicles across the state. Bengaluru Police Commissioner Kamal Pant has cautioned that stringent action will be taken against those violating the lockdown guidelines by travelling outside unnecessarily. All public transport services and metro rail will remain shut. Those with valid train and flight tickets can avail the taxi or auto rickshaw services. Others with valid reasons like visit to hospital for vaccination and other treatment can venture out. More from our Bengaluru correspondent.
All essential services will be functional, but still long queues were seen today outside grocery shops, petrol stations and liquor shops. Long queues were also seen in Krantiveera Sangolli Rayana railway station in Bengaluru today as people wanted to leave the city before the lockdown came into effect. During the 14 days lockdown till May 24th, restaurants are permitted to run parcel service. Public can make purchases of groceries and vegetables between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. every day. Push carts can sell vegetables and fruits from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. near residential areas. Banks, insurance companies and ATMs are allowed. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
The entire state of Mizoram is going for a 7-day long total lockdown from tomorrow. The lockdown will be clamped from 4 in the morning tomorrow and will remain in force till 4 a.m. of 17th of this month to control the ongoing surge of COVID-19 cases. Intrastate and inter-village movements have been strictly prohibited except in some very essential cases. Also, people of the capital and district headquarters towns will not be allowed to come out of their homes during the lockdown. Places of worship, educational institutions, public parks, picnic spots, movie theatres, gymnasiums, community halls, restaurants, shopping complexes, malls, shops will also be closed during the lockdown in all parts of the state. Social gatherings have also been prohibited during the period. In Jammu and Kashmir, Corona curfew in all the 20 districts of the Union Territory has been further extended till 7 a.m. on 17th of this month to control the spread of the virus. The curfew will be strict except for a few essential services. The gathering permissible for marriages has been reduced to 25 with immediate effect. The decision was taken during a high-level meeting of COVID task force chaired by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. 10 additional oxygen generation plants are also coming up in Jammu and Kashmir soon with the intervention of the central government. Meanwhile, 5,190 fresh positive cases were reported in the Union Territory today.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray today interacted with around 700 private doctors of Mumbai on the prevailing COVID situation in the state through video conference. The Chief Minister directed the doctors on the line of treatment they should implement while treating a COVID patient. With today's interactive session, the Chief Minister has interacted with 1,000 doctors on how they should deal with the possible third wave of COVID-19. The Chief Minister is also likely to hold such sessions with private doctors from other parts of the state in next few days. Our Mumbai correspondent has filed this report.
Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray's interactive session with family doctors came as a morale booster and a confidence-building measure for the medical practitioners. The CM said that in the prevailing COVID crisis, family doctors play an important role as patients first visit the medical practitioners when they suffer from any minor or major illness. The Chief Minister said if family doctors diagnose COVID by examining the initial symptoms, then it would help in curing the patients early. He also directed these doctors to frequently be in touch with patients who are in home isolation, as it will give them psychological support, and if there is any deterioration in their health, then they can be immediately hospitalized. Meanwhile, yesterday over 236,000 people were inoculated in the state with vaccine against COVID-19. So far, more than 1,79 lakh people have taken the jabs in Maharashtra. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Further dip in COVID-19 cases was also recorded in Mumbai today. According to the BMC, 2,403 fresh cases and 68 fatalities were registered during the last 24 hours. More than 3,300 patients were discharged following their recovery.
Kerala continues to report a surge in COVID cases as it confirmed 35,801 new COVID positive cases today. The test positivity rate is at an alarming 28.88%. This is the highest test positivity rate that has been reported in the state till date since the outbreak of the pandemic. Meanwhile, the state government renewed the COVID treatment guidelines in the state. According to the new guidelines, all fever clinics functioning in the state will be converted to COVID clinics from now on. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur inaugurated pressure swing adsorption PSA oxygen plants at Dr. Radhakrishnan Government Medical College, Hamirpur and Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Government Medical College, Chamba virtually from Shimla today. The plant at Chamba has a capacity of 400 litres per minute, whereas Hamirpur plant has 300 litres per minute capacity. The Chief Minister said both these oxygen plants would ensure uninterrupted oxygen supply to the patients admitted in both these medical colleges. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headline before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation with Chief Ministers of Punjab, Karnataka, Bihar and Uttarakhand. India's total COVID vaccination coverage crosses 17 crore mark. Over 3,86,000 people recover from coronavirus infection in the last 24 hours. Government to distribute AYUSH 64 to COVID-19 patients at 7 more centres in Delhi from tomorrow. Nearly 4,200 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by railways so far across the country. Lockdown extended in Uttar Pradesh and Delhi till 17th May in view of COVID-19 situation. New COVID containment measures to come into effect in Karnataka from tomorrow for 14 days. 7-day total lockdown to be imposed in Mizoram from tomorrow. Senior BJP leader Himanta Biswa Sarma to take oath as Chief Minister of Assam tomorrow. And India strongly condemns the terrorist attack on girls' school in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे,
Welcome back to the evening news. The government today said that 7 more centres will be opened in Delhi to distribute AYUSH 64 to asymptomatic, mild and moderate COVID-19 patients from tomorrow. The AYUSH Ministry says those COVID-19 patients who are in home isolation or staying at some government isolation centres can benefit from this initiative. The ministry said it has started free distribution of AYUSH 64 at many locations in Delhi since last Saturday. The 7 centres where AYUSH 64 will be available are All India Institute of Ayurveda at Sarita Vihar, Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga at Ashoka Road, Regional Research Institute of Unani Medicine at Jamia Nagar in Okhala, Unani Medical Centre at Safdarjung Hospital, Unani Speciality Clinic at Dr. M.A. Ansari Health Centre in Jamia Millia Islamia, Central Ayurveda Research Institute at Punjabi Bagh, and Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy CCRYN at Janakpuri. The CCRYN at Sector 19 in Rohini will also start distributing free AYUSH 64 from Wednesday. The ministry said patients or their representatives can visit these centres with hard or soft copies of patients' RT-PCR positive report and the Aadhaar card to get a free pack of AYUSH 64 tablets. Apart from this, a sale counter has also been set up at the reception of the AYUSH Bhavan at GPO complex, where both AYUSH 64 and AYURaksha kits are available. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said full exemption from custom duties, including the IGST, is already available to all COVID relief material imported by the Indian Red Cross for free distribution in the country. In a series of tweets, the minister said from 3rd of May, full exemption from all duties have been provided to Remdesivir injection, Remdesivir API, and for a chemical used in manufacturing this drug. She said this in a response to a letter written by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, seeking exemption from the GST and customs duty and other duties and taxes on some items and COVID-related drugs. Ms. Sitharaman said this exemption applies to goods such as medical oxygen, equipment used for manufacturing, storage and transportation of oxygen, equipment used for providing oxygen therapy to COVID patients, when imported free of cost for free distribution in the country by any entity, state government, relief agency or autonomous body on the basis of a certificate issued by a state government.
The Railways has so far delivered nearly 4,200 tons of liquid medical oxygen to various states across the country. The Railway Ministry said 68 oxygen expresses have already completed their journey. It said Railways is continuing its journey of bringing relief by delivering liquid medical oxygen to various states. Oxygen is now being delivered by Railways to new cities like Kanpur, which received 80 tons of liquid medical oxygen today. The Indian Air Force is operating a COVID Air Support Management Cell to efficiently coordinate for the distribution of all the relief aid coming from foreign countries. The Defence Ministry said the Air Force is operating this management cell at Palam Air Base since 27th of last month. The cell is operational round the clock. The ministry said 1 C-130 and 2 AN-32 transport aircraft are operating at Palam to airlift load on short notice across the country.
In a major breakthrough against the coronavirus infection, a drug developed by the Defence Research and Development Organisation DRDO got the approval for emergency use by the Drugs Controller General of India DCGI. Amid the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic, this drug will prove to be beneficial for the patients who are suffering from COVID-19. The drug 2-deoxy-D-glucose comes in a powder form in a sachet which needs to be taken orally by dissolving it in water. Results of clinical trials have shown that this molecule helps in faster recovery of hospitalized patients and reduces supplemental oxygen dependence. The drug has been developed by one of the DRDO labs, the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, in collaboration with Dr. Reddy's laboratories. Speaking exclusively to AIR News, Director General Life Sciences at the DRDO headquarters, Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh said, stepping out of its domain, the DRDO has done yeoman service during the COVID-19 pandemic.
जैसे मास्क थे, जैसे CBR मीन्स केमिकल, बायोलॉजिकल, रेडियोलॉजिकल और न्यूक्लियर, इसके लिए हम प्रोटेक्टिव गियर बनाते हैं, NBC सूट, NBC मास्क। हमने उस नॉलेज को एक्सटेंड किया है, तो उसको N95 मास्क और अदर मास्क की टेस्टिंग के लिए देश को समर्पित किया। PPE किट जब होती है, उसकी जो सिलाई होती है सीट पे, उस पे एक टेप लगती है और ग्लू लगता है। फाइल्स में बहुत तरह के हम एडहेसिव या बॉन्डिंग मटेरियल यूज करते हैं। हमने उनको एनालाइज किया। यहाँ पे DRDO ने अपने डोमेन से, अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी और नॉलेज से आगे निकल के काम किया, जिससे कि हम इस कोविड मैनेजमेंट में अपना योगदान दें।
Listeners can tune into AIR FM Gold channel at 9:15 tonight to listen to the complete interview with Director General Life Sciences at DRDO, Dr. Ajay Kumar Singh, on this breakthrough development in our Spotlight program.
The global community is extending a helping hand to support India's efforts to meet the challenges and requirements of the unprecedented surge in the number of COVID-19 cases in the second wave of the global pandemic. The Centre has been ensuring the global aid is being effectively and promptly allocated and delivered to states and union territories to supplement their efforts during this critical phase. The Union Health Ministry said over 6,738 oxygen concentrators, over 3,856 oxygen cylinders, 16 oxygen generation plants, over 4,668 ventilators or PAP or CPAP and more than 3 lakh remdesivir vials have been delivered or dispatched so far. This will help to supplement the medical infrastructure of the tertiary care institutions and recipient states and union territories. India received a consignment of 3 oxygen generators and 1,000 ventilators from the United Kingdom today. Each generator has capacity to produce 500 litres of oxygen per minute, enough to treat 50 people at a time. India said it deeply values the contribution from its close friend. The first consignment of 30 oxygen concentrators and 200 oxygen cylinders with regulators arrived from South Korea today. India welcomed this support from its special strategic partner.
Israel has been sending emergency medical aid to India to bolster the country's fight against COVID pandemic. The first consignment of oxygen concentrators from Israel arrived in New Delhi on the 5th of this month. Recently, an IAF aircraft carrying 3 oxygen generators and 360 oxygen concentrators also landed in India. Speaking to AIR News, Deputy Ambassador of Israel in India, Ronnie Yadija Klein, said medical equipment will be coming from the private sector in the days to come.
Right now, we also organizing in Israel. There's an organization going on of equipment which will be coming from the private sector, and this is through the Israeli Manufacturers Association, through the Chambers of Commerce of Israel and India, all of these different organizations in Israel, as well as NGOs, which are putting together an additional shipment of things which will be arriving within the next few days.
The Deputy Ambassador also spoke about how COVID situation has improved significantly in Israel due to the vaccination drive.
We have been able to vaccinate over 60% of the people of the population above 16 years old. People are welcome to come and be vaccinated no matter if they have comorbidities or anything at all. They're just told, please come and get vaccinated. So really, it's been a very massive campaign with a lot of people involved in it. And we have so many people who are vaccinated now that we have been able to overcome the COVID pandemic for now.
Senior BJP leader Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma will take oath as the Chief Minister of Assam tomorrow. Preparations are being made for the oath-taking ceremony following all COVID protocols. Some Chief Ministers of northeastern states and senior leaders of the NDA are expected to attend the oath-taking ceremony. Earlier in the day, Himanta Biswa Sarma was unanimously elected as the leader of the BJP Legislature Party. His name as the leader of the BJP Legislature Party was proposed by outgoing Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal. The Legislature Party meeting was held in Guwahati in the presence of central observers Narendra Singh Tomar and Arun Singh. Senior leaders B.L. Santosh and Baijayant Jay Panda were also present in the meeting.
Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament from Odisha, Dr. Raghunath Mahapatra, passed away at capital Bhubaneswar in Odisha today. He was undergoing treatment in AIIMS Bhubaneswar for COVID-19 for the last few days. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief over the demise of Padma Vibhushan awardee. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said Raghunath Mahapatra made pioneering contributions to the world of art, architecture and culture. The Prime Minister said Mahapatra will be remembered for his contribution towards popularizing traditional crafts. Indian National Army INA veteran Lalti Ram passed away today. 100 years old Lalti Ram was a resident of Jhajjar in Haryana. He was admitted in the INA in 1941 and fought in many countries. He, along with 3 veterans, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose's Indian National Army, participated in the Republic Day Parade in 2019. President Raghunath Mahapatra and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have expressed grief on the demise of the INA veteran.
The birth anniversary of Nobel laureate poet Rabindranath Tagore is being observed today. Gurudev, as he is affectionately known, became the first non-European to be awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his acclaimed collection of poems, Gitanjali. Rabindranath Tagore wrote the national anthem of 2 countries, India and Bangladesh, Jana Gana Man and Amar Shonad Bangla. Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid rich tributes to Nobel laureate on the occasion.
The Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, also paid tributes to great warrior Maharana Pratap and freedom fighter and philanthropist Gopal Krishna Gokhale on their birth anniversary today.
India has strongly condemned the terrorist attack on Sayyid al-Shuhada Girls' School in the capital Kabul in Afghanistan yesterday, which killed more than 50 girl students during the holy month of Ramadan. The External Affairs Ministry said in a release that targeting young girl students makes this an attack on the future of Afghanistan. The perpetrators clearly seek to destroy the painstaking and hard-won achievements that the Afghans have put in place over the last 2 decades. The New Delhi said this incident demonstrates once again the urgent need for dismantling terrorist sanctuaries, an immediate need for a comprehensive nationwide ceasefire to make the peace process meaningful and sustainable. Meanwhile, the death toll in the terrorist attack in Kabul has risen to 58. More than 150 others were injured. The Interior Ministry said at least 3 blasts took place near Sayyid ul-Shuhada High School yesterday afternoon. It happened when students were leaving the school. The death toll is likely to rise further. No group or individual has claimed responsibility for the blast so far.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital, Delhi, is likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder lightning. The temperature will hover between 23 and 40 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 27 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. Chennai is expected to have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 28 and 36 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Temperature will hover between 11 and 25 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 22 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 36 degrees. Leh is expected to have partly cloudy sky while the minimum and the maximum temperature will be between 6 and 18 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 13 and 32 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is also likely to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature will be 16 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 34 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews COVID-19 situation with Chief Ministers of Punjab, Karnataka, Bihar and Uttarakhand. India's total COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 17 crore mark. Over 3,86,000 people recover from coronavirus infection in last 24 hours. Government to distribute AYUSH 64 to COVID-19 patients at 7 more centres in Delhi from tomorrow. Nearly 4,200 tons of liquid medical oxygen delivered by railway so far across the country. Lockdown extended in Uttar Pradesh and Delhi till 17th May in view of COVID-19 situation. New COVID containment measures to come into effect in Karnataka from tomorrow for 14 days. 7-day total lockdown to be imposed in Mizoram from tomorrow. Senior BJP leader Himanta Biswa Sarma to take oath as Chief Minister of Assam tomorrow. And India strongly condemns the terrorist attack on girls' school in Afghanistan's capital, Kabul. And for more details of these stories and more, log on to our website and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.